Yeah, life is like one of those candles, see? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's do some chanting again together. On the slip of paper that we handed out, there's a mantra there, number 4. If you don't have one, there's a pile of them next to the door. This is a mantra from the Tantric tradition of India. And Tantra is although there's a lot of attention given to the romantic aspect of Tantra, Tantra really is worship of the goddess or the Devi, and worshiping Shakti or the primordial energy of creation as the goddess. And in the, thank you. Yeah, okay. In the Tantric tradition, there are many mantras that are of a more esoteric nature. The Tantrikas of India and later the Tantric Buddhists of Tibet worked a lot with primordial sound vibrations, what Kriyananda was talking about, and we'll get back to that, something called bija mantras. Bijas are seeds. Bija means seed. And a bija mantra is a mantra that's very simple, and it embodies a seed or a primary energy or a primary symbol. And what the Tantrics would say is that mantras are the body of the Devi or the body of the goddess, that as you're chanting, you're allowing God or the goddess a form, that the goddess can reside in your vicinity because there is a body for her to, or clothing for her to wear. She wears a garland of letters. She wears a garland, as Kriyananda was saying, all the Sanskrit alphabet, ka, ka, ki, ki, ku, ku, and so forth, or as they go. So there's this overlap in the Tantric tradition of worshiping the goddess, creation, sound, mantra, all sort of wrapped up together. So that's a little background. And these syllables in the number 4 mantra, Om, Aim, Hrim, Klim, Chamundaye, Viche Namaha. This is a mantra that's basically saying Om, Bija mantra, Bija mantra, Bija mantra, Chamunda, victory to you. So it has a sort of a devotional component to it. Chamunda is one of the names of the goddess, form of Kali, just another form of god or goddess. So let us chant that. Oops. Let's see. We'll chant it slowly first together and follow me. Om. Aim. Hrim. Klim. Klim. Chamundaye Viche Namaha. Chamundaye Viche Namaha. And then like this, let me chant it once. Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Viche Namaha. Let's try that. Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Viche Namaha. Again. Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Viche Namaha. Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Viche Namaha. This was told to me to be a very potent mantra that you're not supposed to give out publicly, but yet it's printed everywhere. So I think there are a lot of mantras that are the best. This is best. And if you read in books about something called Ayurveda, which is the traditional medicine of India, this mantra is used to potentize herbs. When an Ayurvedic herbalist prepares a remedy, it's not just a physics or chemistry exercise. There's also a stage called potentization, where the deity, the Devi, the goddess, Mother Nature is petitioned to come into the herbs, come in and magnify the life force or the healing force of the herbs. So this particular mantra is used in the healing tradition. So let's chant again. Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Viche Namaha. Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Viche Namaha. And one more time. Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Viche Namaha. Gee, we ought to go on the road with this. These guys are so good, aren't they? This is a great orchestra of voices. You can also use that mantra, Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Viche Namaha, for worshiping the Divine Mother. If you're not comfortable with worshiping the Divine Father, there are alternatives out there. Kriyananda talked about something very vital in mantra, which is really going beyond selfishness or going beyond our limited state of awareness and reaching out to think a new thought. And there are different styles or types of mantra. And I'm going to give you some Sanskrit vocabulary words. The ancient Indians spent a lot of time thinking about these matters, so they have words that we don't have in our language. There's different kinds of mantras, and in general, we could say there's two kinds, nirguna and saguna. Guna means quality. Something that is saguna means it is a mantra that's about something, something that has qualities. Nirguna, N-I-R-G-U-N-A, means something about which has no qualities. How can you meditate on something that has no qualities? I'll give you an example of a saguna mantra. Om Shri Maha Durgaye Namaha. Durga, or Virgo, is a symbol of the goddess, since we're talking about the goddess. She rides a tiger. She wears a sari. She carries many divine weapons, all of which are symbolic of weapons to destroy negative states of mind, really. She's not a warrior goddess, except in the sense that the war is in our minds or in our hearts between us and us. In the Indian tradition, it's very rich with these kinds of deities or gods and goddesses. The gods are personifications of our states of mind. We like to think, yeah, those Hindu gods are personifications of states of mind. My God is God. Whoever mine is, depending on where you're at. My God is not a symbol. My God is God. But if you just try asking anybody else what their God is, you'll find out that everybody thinks that. Because our minds are symbol processors, it's hard for us to grasp the primary, ultimate thing that's beyond the symbols, because it's all symbols in our mind. The gods of the Orient, the gods of the West, are personifications of primary symbols. And some gods are more primary than others. Some gods are very complicated. They've kind of, over the centuries, some of these gods have all the qualities. King, queen, mother, father, sister, friend. So when we're talking about saguna mantras, we're talking about mantras that we're using to supplicate or attune to gods that are symbols, like the Buddha. But there's so many Buddhas. If you look in that poster in the back of, I guess it's a Tibetan tanka, there's a primary Buddha with many Buddhas around him or her. These are all symbolic of the forces of nature, or the mental forces, astral forces. When we are meditating on a mantra that is a saguna mantra, we're often doing a visualization of this symbol. In the Indian tradition, the teacher would say, this is your mantra, this is your deity, or if you were born in a family, in a certain village, there might be a village deity or your family deity. And the teacher might say, now here's what you do. You meditate on God. God is a male. He wears a yellow robe. He has a flute. He wears a beautiful crest jewel on his forehead, and he wears another jewel on his chest, and he does this and that and the other thing. And this is his mantra. And you would meditate on that symbol. And generally, the person that's the God is chosen to be a beautiful symbol of something wonderful. And you cultivate those wonderful qualities within you as you align or attune to what that symbol symbolizes. In our culture, we have movie stars. We have cultural icons, they call them. And by icons, they don't mean the icons from our, is it Byzantium, from the old early Christian tradition? They mean modern icons, sex symbols, wealth symbols. And most people who are not cultivating a spiritual life, they're bombarded with these kind of icons, the lifestyles of the rich and famous. And people become symbols or gods in our culture. I should point out, when we were in Hawaii recently, someone was pointing out to us all the different mountains in this part of Kauai. And they said, you know, every mountain here has a name. And every little crest on every hill has a name. And all the names are from the Hawaiian tradition. They were named by the people after their gods and after famous people who lived in the area. But now, with so many Americans living here, so many of these Hawaiian names are rather long and hard to pronounce. Too many vowels. And so many people will refer to places on the islands as, oh, that's where they shot King Kong. That's where, see that hill right there? That's where they shot King Kong. I said, wow, that's where they shot King Kong. Excellent. And in so doing, people are linking into the myths of their culture, which in our case are recent myths, and they're largely not always connected with these primary symbols as spiritually as we might like. Although you can always connect King Kong to some primary symbol, I guess, if you dig down far enough. But it's not a direct connection. So with saguna meditation, or meditation on a symbol that has qualities, male, female, beautiful, terrifying, strong, weak, we come to another term called the Ishta Devata. Ishta means chosen or beloved. It's spelled I-S-H-T-A, Ishta. And Devata means a deva or a deity, a divine one. Our English word divine comes from that Sanskrit root deva or divya, divine. So whether it's your family deity or your guru mantra or your guru deity or the one that you find drawn to, in this tradition you would recite a mantra and do a visualization of an Ishta Devata, a chosen or beloved deity. The problem with the Ishta Devata is, my Ishta Devata is not necessarily your Ishta Devata. And in order to get into it, I have to spend a lot of time focusing and saying, my Ishta Devata is the right one, my God is the right one, I love my God. That's part of the practice. Oh God, come to me with this yellow silken robe and the flute. Or, oh God, come to me, you're the Buddha. Oh Buddha, Buddha, Buddha. And then when someone else comes along who says, no, Allahu Akbar, God is great. Ah ilaha illallahu, there is nothing else to be worshipped than Allah or God. Problems arise because my saguna, my with form mental construct is not the same as yours. And I think the history of the world is littered with these disagreements. So there's this other concept, but it has some pitfalls too. It's called nirguna. That means without qualities. So a nirguna mantra would be something like Om. What does Om mean? It really doesn't mean anything. You know, you can read in the various books, Om it's ah and ooh and and all of that, but that's sort of after the fact. That's nice to know, but in reality, when you're doing Om meditation, all you're doing is just going Om. There's nothing going on, really. It's just you're experiencing that vibration. It's nirguna, no qualities. Some religions are more closely attuned to the nirguna concept. They don't really believe God takes on a human form as a male or a female, that God is just this universal energy force or inexpressible, undefinable thing. And for some people, if you're brought up that way, or if that's your inclination, you might be more comfortable with some of these nirguna mantras. Another kind of nirguna mantra would be number 3 on our sheet, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. That's basically saying, I don't know who's up there, but peace, peace, peace. Whoever you are, you know, have a nice day. There are problems with nirguna mantras, or with the people who do nirguna type meditation, people who meditate on God without any qualities. They become stoic. They become Saturnian. No, 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 God has no quality. All these people are crazy. It's just, you know, Om. Oftentimes those people, because they're not doing heart practices, become stern or cold. So we could say, well, if you want to be balanced, do both. God with qualities, God without qualities. And I'll leave it at that for you to think about, because how can God have both no qualities and qualities? There's a lot of disagreements that are littering the world over that issue too. Going back to the Ishta Devata, symbols can be limiting. Even though they're your best symbols, you may find that in 6 months or 6 years you outgrow that symbol, or it's not appropriate for you. Yeah, I was meditating on Durga. She rides a tiger. She wears a red sari. She has a nose ring. I love Durga. Om Shri Maha Durgaye Namaha. For 6 years. But then all of a sudden you may find for your spiritual growth that it's important for you to shift that thing that you're trying to cultivate, or that symbol that you're trying to draw yourself to, or that state of mind that you've been lacking. Well, now I have it, and now I need to focus on another symbol. This is my personal opinion. And I've noticed that people tend to go through chapters in their lives where they need to dwell on different things in different growth phases in their life. In the Hindu tradition, it's fine. As long as you're Om something, you're okay. In the Zen tradition, I lived in a Zen Buddhist community for around a year, and they have a little different tradition of chanting. I was taught, just chant. Does that sound like Zen? They don't mince words. Just chant. Yeah, but no, just chant. They also have a tradition of meditation. You know, we've probably all been exposed to the meditation where you follow your breath. This is a simple zazen, in, out, in, out. Sounds very simple, very easy, very dumb, but it's a very profound technique. But beyond that, I was taught by the Roshi, there's a ultimate technique, or a high technique called shikantaza, which means just sitting. So, well, wait, what do you mean just sitting? Isn't that what my doggy does, Oliver? He just sits. He loves to sit. Oh, does that guy love to sit in that couch? We have a chair. He loves to put his paws over the edge of that chair and just look out, just sit there. He's a very beautiful soul. But in the Zen tradition, they have this thing called just sitting. It's rare to experience just sitting. No deity, no nothing. No me, you, God, here, up there, in, out, just sitting. Perhaps we would call that samadhi, or sameness. Samadhi comes from the root sama, which means same, or identical, or union, or yoga. For most of us, though, these nirguna techniques, just sitting, are very impossible. That's why it was presented as the ultimate result of many years of practicing Zazen meditation. You could slip into just sitting for a while. Then, of course, you never know how long you've been there because you're just sitting. Oh, my God. Look what time it is. For many of us, that's really a difficult state, and so sages have prescribed various rungs of meditative techniques so that we can have somewhere to start that suits our nature, our development, our mental inclination. And so reverence is used in techniques that focus on the heart, developing love and compassion. There are techniques that revolve around reverence. You know, Kriyananda was saying, you can't just get the cat to come if you just say, here, kitty, kitty, here, kitty, kitty, nah, nah. You have to call it over and over again. You have to supplicate. From one perspective, we would say, you can't release the forces from your mind unless you feel emotionally that you've put in the time. You could have the samadhi right now, but you won't let yourself because you don't feel you deserve it. So you have to say, here, kitty, 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 a million times, and then you will let yourself experience that state. That's one perspective. It's probably true on one level. Another level is that, no, you must supplicate before the Lord of the entire cosmos. You're not just about to get the ultimate state of consciousness or God consciousness just because you said, I want it. You don't have the qualifications. You don't have the reverence, the humility, the simplicity. Either way you look at it, it's the same thing. So, going back to Kriyananda's tantric analogy, if you're going out on a date, you want to open the heart of the person you're with. Let's say you're a guy. You don't just say, get in a truck. You have to bring flowers, chocolates, compliments. Compliments. You look wonderful. God, you look good. I have another thing. Should I say it? I heard this on the radio. It says, baby, you look like a traffic ticket. You got fine written all over you. We need to use the emotional, we need to use the power of emotion. If you're supplicating to God consciousness or to the God consciousness within you, there are certain things you can say that will have an effect and others that won't. And you need to repeat these things. You need to whisper sweet nothings. This is the Venusian approach, or the love approach. Since we're talking about Sanskrit a little bit, you might find it interesting that in Sanskrit, the word for Venus, which is the planet astrologically of love and harmony, the word for Venus in Sanskrit is Shukra. If you speak Spanish, the word for sugar is azúcar. And in French, sucre. Sucre. These come from the Proto-Indo-European root language. Shukra means sugar or sweetness, or Venus. So Venus is the planet of love, harmony, corresponds to the heart chakra. So for many of us, reverence is very important. We need to find something that we love. I have a once upon a yogi time story. You may have heard this 9 years ago. So like that little snail, I'll say, what was that all about? I just heard that, but maybe 10 or 12 years ago. And I just want to say this story is an Indian-style story, and I love Indians, and I love their sweetness, so I apologize if I inadvertently offend someone, but there's only one way I can tell this joke. There was a guru, and he had a disciple, and this disciple, as I mentioned earlier, he said, how should I meditate? I want to learn this meditation. I've heard so much of it. This is very important. He says, okay, there's Lord Krishna. He wears the yellow silken robe. He carries the flute. He has a beautiful aura of gold light around him. You can hear his beautiful music on the flute. Meditate on him with this mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Just like that, the 12-lettered mantra. Visualize a circle around him of light with the 12 letters, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, glowing, full of bliss, the music going in all directions, and the guru's going on, the disciples, wait, wait, wait. No way. It's much too complicated. So the teacher says, okay, obviously we don't have the A++ disciple here. We have sort of a B minus guy. All right, here's what you do. Just meditate Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Just each syllable, just as it's going by in your mind, just sort of concentrate on that and let your mind get absorbed in that. And just do that for 20 minutes a day. The student says, oh, Swamiji, this mantra is so long. So many syllables are there. No way. So the guru says, okay, he's not a B minus. We're going to this is the straggler here. But everyone is divine. The divinity in this one is no different from the divinity within me. So give the guy a chance. He says, okay, what do you really like? Obviously, this particular symbol, even though it's from our nation and our religion, and so it's a beautiful symbol, there's nothing wrong with it. What do you like? And the disciple thinks for a second and says, oh, Swamiji, my whole life to me, I have this water buffalo. I love it. He says, all right, you meditate on this water buffalo day in, day out. I want you to just completely fixate 20 minutes a day on this water buffalo. Think of nothing else. Will this be easy for you? And he says, oh, very. So he comes to check out the student. He doesn't see the student after several days. He says, whoa, what did I do here? What happened? So he goes to find the student. The student's sitting in a little kutir, the little hut, doing the meditation. The 20 minutes pass, 40 minutes pass. The student's been in there for days, just constantly, water buffalo, water buffalo. The teacher says, okay, Vishnu, come out now. I want to check your progress. Water buffalo, water buffalo. So he knocks really hard and uses his mind force, wakes the guy up. He says, okay, Vishnu, come out, come out. He says, oh, Swamiji, I cannot come out. He says, why? He says, oh, I cannot come out the door. He says, why? Because my horns are so big. I cannot get them through the door. So that's the story. The person had become that which he reflected on, or fed, or nourished, or strengthened, or magnified. Let us magnify the Lord. That which you focus on, it grows. If you focus on a symbol of love, it grows. If you focus on a symbol of power, prestige, whatever it is, it grows. It's a simple, as Shelley would say, it's a virtual reality. You can make up some of this stuff as you go. So what makes a mantra work? Is it an affirmation? Changing the tape. When are we, I apologize, when are we taking a break? No, I know that, thank you, but when are we taking the break? Oh, to take the break? Let's leave it at that. Okay, that's fine, great. Shanti. Oh, I'm sorry, was there a I apologize, I lost track of what the scheduled time was for us to take the break. Oh, well, now's a good, everybody's been sitting for a long time if you like, but
or you can go for another 15 minutes, whatever you
want. No, had enough? I think there's probably people are... Okay. Okay. So, if I should say, if you feel like stepping up and stretching, please do. Don't worry about me. What makes a mantra work? Is a mantra an affirmation, such as Aham Brahmasmi? Let's chant that for a moment. Aham means I am. Brahmasmi means I am that Brahman, or that God consciousness, the principle that creates the universe. Shall we chant that for a second? That's a lovely nirguna meditation. There's no qualities there. I am the creator, or I am creative. I am creativity itself. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. So that's an affirmation and a mantra kind of together. Some mantras are supplications to the Lord. Is that what makes mantras work? Because after all, you're calling on God. God is all powerful. There's nothing God can't accomplish. Or is the power of mantra coming from some kind of sound science? These super duper sounds. Shreem or Alleluia. Alleluia. Ancient Latin mantra, I guess. Alleluia. Or is it God's name? Rama, Rama. These things come from, the power comes from all of these things combined. It's a synergistic approach. So we would say 50% comes from the sound vibration affecting your chakras, 50% comes from your own state of mind, 50% comes from God blessing you, 50% comes from you blessing God, and the rest comes from the universe sending good vibes back to you. So it's all of those things. I'd like to talk about 5 attitudes. There's something called bhava. This is another Sanskrit word. B-H-A-V-A, bhava. It means mood, or inclination, or approach, or style. In the Indian tradition, there are 5 bhavas, but I think there's a few more. One of them is called Shanta bhava. Shanta, like Shanti, means peace. You'll find a lot of people who are practitioners of Buddhism or in the Orient, it's sort of their approach, the peaceful aspect of God consciousness. I want to become full of peace, the peace that passeth all understanding. There's another bhava called dasya bhava. Dasa means servant. Nah, peace isn't for me. I got a debt to pay. I want to serve God. I want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. That's another attitude that people have. Then there's another bhava called sakya bhava. Means friendship. God is my co-pilot. See, in the Indian tradition, all of these are valid. It's not like, no, God is the angry father. Any of these approaches is fine. And on a given day, sometimes, if you hear people cuss, they'll vary from one of these to another. The 4th one is called Vatsalya Bhava. This is interesting. This means the parent-child mood. The love that a mother has for her children, or that a father has for his children. Sometimes you'll see pictures of baby Jesus or baby Krishna, because some people are so attuned to that for them, that's what does the trick. That's the symbol that unlocks their heart. The 5th symbol is called Mathurya Bhava, M-A-T-H-U-R-Y-A, Mathurya. It's what Yogananda called the divine romance. God is my beloved. I am the beloved of God. There's a few more that are out there. God as nature. The native peoples often see divinity in the Earth Mother and in nature itself, the universe, worshiping the universe, the creation, as a symbol of God or as a work of God. Other people relate to God or to these quality or to these saguna symbols as God is all knowledge. God is the big librarian. Sometimes Kriyananda talks about it. You go to heaven, they let you in the library. Depending on how your merit is, they give you 1 book, 2 books, 3 books. Ultimately, find what works for you and take that symbol from the sa-guna state to the nir-guna state. So the teacher sees this guy who won't come out because his horns are too big to fit through the door. There is something at the end of that story. The teacher says, now you must meditate on essence of buffalo itself. The guy goes, essence of buffalo. Aha, acha. So ultimately these symbols will take you to the thing which is beyond the symbol. And then you can mantra that and share it with everyone. And in your meditation, you should not only be focusing or pulling the energy into yourself, bless me, bless me, bless me down here, but you should also be, at half of your meditation should be dedicated to God bless everybody. Whatever little blessing I've got, may everyone have that as well. Sending it out. So there's an inhale process and an exhale process. And that completes the cycle. It makes you healthy. And on that note, I think we'll break. Some people like practice. Oh, sorry. Some people like practice when they come to a class like this or a seminar. Some people like theory. So we try to do a little bit of both. Now let's do some more in-depth practice with a simple mantra. Let us chant Om together for a protracted period of time. Protracted. We need a protractor for that. Let us chant Om together, and we'll start out at a good pitch and then become more quiet, and then we will silently meditate on Om. And you can have any bhava or attitude you want. Peace, love, glory, however you approach it. Just keep on chanting anytime you want to take a breath. Shanti. We talked earlier about the importance of reverence. Although reverence is not for everyone, there's some for whom reverence doesn't really matter. But to be well-rounded, we want to have our hearts open as well as our intellects and our practical nature. So I'd like to talk about what they call in the books the 9 modes of devotion or bhakti. And this is for transmuting the emotions into devotion. And again, these are not cast in stone. These are just a categorization so that we have a language and we can talk about some of these things and understand others who are not like us, or others who are attracted or inclined to little different things than we are. The first one is called Shravanam, S-H-R-A-V-A-N-A-M, Shravanam. And Shravanam means listening to stories, divine stories or tales and parables or teachers. And it is a practice. When I lived in the Zen center, you just listened. I kid you not. either with the teacher there or to a tape-recorded talk, which is called a Te-sho, a Dharma talk. You just listened. Number 2 is called Kirtanam, which Kriyananda talked about, kirtan, or chanting. Kirtanam, Kirtanam, or kirtan. It's singing the glories of God. Allahu Akbar, God is great. Because, as Kriyananda said, we need to get out of our limited states of awareness and think a new thought. So one approach is to think big. God is big, bigger than my problems. God consciousness, if you don't like God, God consciousness is big, bigger than my limitations. So we're trying to learn, even though we have limited states of awareness, we're trying to learn how to think big. And in the Oriental tradition, sometimes these type of practices are called cultivating the immeasurables. Because there's no limit to how big you can think. You always think, as Kriyananda would say, I have $10, I'm wealthy, and then you have $10 a week, and now you think, you know, that isn't a lot of money. For my first job, it was pretty good. $10 a week was great. But I'd like $100 a week. I'd like $1,000. You know, I don't know if anybody's really going to give me a hard time. I would really like $1 million a week. Learning how to think big. I give a financial symbolism to it, but it's in all parts of our life. The next one is called smaranam, means remembering. Smaranam, S-M-A-R-A-N-A-M, smaranam, means remembering the presence of God or keeping your awareness. Technically, it means remembrance. So for you, it could mean, as the Buddhists do, being alert or attentive or in the moment. Or if you're a devotee of God, being always aware that God is there. Yeah, I'm taking this test, but really God is testing me, see. It's just between me and God, see. That's called smaranam. Number 4, pada sevanam. Pada means feet, from which we get the word podiatry. Probably a bunch of other words, but means feet. Pada sevanam means serving the feet. In the Oriental traditions, the feet are considered very special symbols. You know, they'll say, oh, I am touching the feet of the Guru. The feet are, on the one hand, your very lowest part of your body. And in the old days, if you wore sandals in the dusty plains or in the dusty regions, your feet would always be dirty. So in a way, the feet are kind of dirty. And so to touch someone's feet is an act of humility. I am touching your feet. Your lowest part is higher up than I'm ever going to get. And no matter how high we go, it's always good to have reverence. That's another immeasurable that we can cultivate, humility. So Bhadasevanam means serving the feet of God. Like Mother Teresa, she teaches her students to see Christ in all of those sick and ailing, miserable, poor, dying people. That's called Padasevanam. Number 5, Archanam, waving the lights. Totally different thing altogether from serving the sick and dying. This is a ritual technique, waving the lamp, offering puja or worship. You know, in ancient Egypt, the Pharaoh would get up first thing in the morning and he would go to the shrine and open up the doors and greet the deity and feed the deity. Even today in the temples in India or in the States where they have Hindu-style temples, every day the deities are clothed, bathed, fed, just like you would a baby or a person. They're treated with respect, and so that is considered a way to draw those divine forces into that statue by making believe that the statue really is God. Archanam is waving the lights, offering offerings. Number 6, Vandanam, V-A-N-D-A-N-A-M. You might find something you like among these different modes. Vandanam. It means prostration. We've probably seen movies of the Tibetans who have taken, Tibetan Buddhism has taken prostration really to a very deep state. To be initiated to certain levels in the Tibetan paths, you have to perform so many 100,000 prostrations. You'll see people walking on pilgrimages from one place to another, prostrating, then taking a step, prostrating, and taking a step. I guess you get real humble with that. Number 7, dasyam. This means cultivating the feeling of being a servant of the Lord. There's a little repetition here. I don't know why they called them 9 of them, because number 7 and number 4 are very similar. Serving the feet and cultivating the attitude of being the servant of God. Number 8, sakyam. We talked about this earlier when we talked about these other 5 things. Sakyam, establishing a personal relationship with God as a friend. For some, this is the way. All of this mumbo-jumbo, waving lights, holding your breath, standing on your head, that just doesn't inspire them. Being the friend of God is where it's at. Number 9, Atma Nivedanam. Atma means the self, Atma, and Nivedanam means self-surrender. Thanks. Nivedanam. Nivedanam means complete, ungrudging self-surrender, which in my vocabulary is kind of like just sitting. It's an immeasurable that we strive for. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about something from the Tibetan tradition. Oh, I forgot. We have to wrap up. Yeah, I'll make this pretty quick. I'm just checking the time. Okay. In the Tibetan tradition, this is Tibetan Buddhism in a nutshell. I'm not an expert, but it's a nutshell version. There's 3 main paths that really have to do with the 3 waves of Buddhism that came out of India. The first one's called Hinayana, the lesser vehicle. Hinayana, Hinayana, the lesser vehicle. Has to do with cultivating mindfulness or awareness, being in the present. And a lot of the Buddhist practitioners that got involved with Zen or insight meditation, Vipassana, practitioners in Burma, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, they adopted this style of Buddhism, and really it became to them Buddhism. So you see them doing walking meditation, breathing meditation, always with the aim of being in the present. The next wave of Buddhism that came out was called the Mahayana. The Mahayana, the great vehicle or the wide vehicle, Mahayana. And this has to do with the path of the heart. We're moving up the chakras, so to speak, from being in touch with practicality and materiality to the heart, being in touch with feeling the love and compassion. So the Mahayana teachings deal with cultivating compassion. And then the final wave of Buddhism that came out that the Tibetans adopted was called the Vajrayana, the thunderbolt vehicle, or the lightning bolt way or path, the path of the thunderbolt, Vajra, V-A-J-R-A. This is also called Tantric Buddhism or Tantra. This technique deals with the energies of creation. It's mystical and occult. The chakras, the energies, mandalas, supplicating deities, which we know are symbols of states of consciousness, astrology, all of that stuff. And I'd like to talk about something from the Vajrayana or the Tantric tradition called deity yoga. And again, this is a whole subject of which I am not an expert, but I thought it would be an interesting thing to hear about. In deity yoga, there are 6 stages of contemplation. Basically, the idea in deity yoga is you're going from the point at which you see God as being separate from you to the point at which you're saying to yourself, I am a God also. And you go through these 6 stages where at first you visualize a God out in front of you, and then you merge with that God, and then make believe you are that God. And you choose a symbol that is something that you're lacking. So let's say you're lacking brains, like the guy in the, thank you, we are all clairvoyant here, the Wizard of Oz. Who was the guy lacking brains? The Tin Man? Scarecrow. The three gunas. Anyway, we can choose. Basically, we're all lacking in something. And so in this technique, what we want to do is pick a symbol of God consciousness, a Buddha, a Dhyani Buddha, a Buddha on which to meditate, that embodies what we want, what we know we're lacking most. And we cultivate that first as an external thing, because in the beginning, if you had, let's say you're dumb, you feel dumb, you don't feel worthy. So you say, you know, I'm going to visualize this God who's super intelligent, who is the embodiment of all wisdom and intelligence. And in the beginning, I'm just going to be able to sit in the same room with this God or goddess. And then I'm going to get closer. And then eventually, this goddess or God is going to have a seat inside my body, and I'm going to become that goddess and give out blessings and boons and make believe I am that goddess, giving out PhDs, XYZs. Because we have to learn how to pretend in the beginning if we have a blockage. If we want love, as Kriyananda would say, we have to first imagine we can even be in the same room with love or beauty, and then eventually we have to become the symbol of love. How does this all relate to mantra? Because mantra is the part of that ritual where we say, I am that. I draw myself to that. I deserve that. I am aligned with that. I become that. So in these 6 stages of contemplation, the first thing we do very quickly, it's called the ultimate deity. You visualize emptiness, just like Kriyananda was talking about. We create a space. I'm going through this very quickly. In the second stage, it's called the sound deity, having to do with mantra practice. We visualize a moon or a sun or a circle of light. And in that circle is the deity, and around that deity is the deity, the mantra of the deity. So if it's Lord Shiva, there's the circle, and around Shiva, it's saying Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, like neon lights, you know. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, and out of the letters are coming light. The letters are alive, and that's the second stage. The third stage is called the letter deity. The letters, I'm sorry, I kind of joined this second and third together. The letter deity is the third one. The letters become alive. You start seeing Om Namah Shivaya with luminous lights. And those lights are sending out waves of that particular quality, whatever it is that you're looking to cultivate, blessing others, that you may be blessed as well. The fourth stage is called the form deity. The rays of light from that mantra coalesce, come together into the form of the deity that you're visualizing. So like that Buddha in the back there on the tanka, the painting. You start actually imagining all those forces, all those good vibrations are coming together into an actual person now who is a personification of that symbolic quality: love, wisdom, energy, enthusiasm, wealth. Then the fifth stage is called the mudra deity, at which point you do traditional gestures or mudras, M-U-D-R-A, where now you start acting a little bit like the deity is blessing you. You touch different parts of your body, kind of like we do in the church, you know, being anointed with the Holy Spirit. We start touching the portions of the body. This is a characteristically Indian and Tibetan ritual. And saying certain mantras and making certain gestures, you know, that are symbolic of the qualities that we're trying to cultivate. And then the sixth stage is called the sign or the symbol deity, where you invite the deity actually into you, and you become one with the deity, and then you become that symbol. You become the symbol of enlightenment. You become the symbol of wisdom, compassion. And you sit there for a while, emanating out these qualities, just like the deity that you're cultivating. And then the process is reversed. You bring the deity back out, condense it back into the letters, the light, and so forth. There's the circle, the void, and you basically dissolve the whole thing. The mantra figures into it because the mantra is the pure thought. Without the mantra, without the thought, it can't be. And on that note,
Nanda la la te re pyare nam